Hey guys! Lots of people visit France every year. It's something crazy, like over 80 million tourists come to France. So it's no wonder that so many people, when they come to visit, decide that they would eventually like to move here. Now, visiting France and making the big jump to move, it's not exactly the same thing. Sure, everyone's going to tell you how much you'll enjoy the food and wine, how maybe less friendly the French will seem at the beginning, or how hard it is to integrate if you don't learn to speak the language. But what about all that other stuff? The random, but very useful information you wish you would have known before moving to France. Well, it's your lucky day, everybody, because I made a list of some of the random things that I wish I would have known before moving to France that you can't find so easily online. So I'm going to dive into that right now, but just an alert, I have an Instagram account and a blog, and my Instagram account has mostly been related to content that I have about my 6-month-old baby that I'm obsessed with, or really personally, my life. But that is all about to change. You'll still, of course, get cute baby content, don't worry, but I'm also going to start adding a lot of content about France. So tips for where to travel, things you should know, trivia, fun facts, you name it. So I'm going to launch all of this great new content starting in July. So if that kind of stuff interests you, don't hesitate to check out my Instagram account and start following me, because there's going to be lots of really great tips and information to come if you're planning on traveling in France or moving to France. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And of course, leave any tips you've got in the comments below for people moving to France. I'm sure they'll all really appreciate it. And otherwise, let's get started. C'est parti. You actually need a coin in France in order to use a shopping cart. Now, if you've lived in the US or in Canada, then you know that we don't have any sort of system really like that. And so what happens is people just leave their carts wherever they feel fit. So in the middle of the store, in the middle of the parking lot, I've personally seen like carts just fly into unsuspecting parked cars because of wind. It's kind of complete chaos in the US. And in France, this isn't really the case, because you need either like a €1 coin, or they make these tokens that look like a euro coin that you stick inside the cart. They have a little slot on the handle that you stick on the cart, and it allows you to unlock the cart from the whole row of carts, and then you go and you do your shopping, and when you're done you take it back and you're able to lock it back into the other carts and get your money back. So nobody's really leaving their carts randomly anywhere, because then you lose a euro. So important to have change when you go to the grocery store to use a cart, and always put that cart back. Also about grocery stores, in France you always bag your own groceries. Now, I know this might not seem like a big deal, and in the whole grand scheme of things in life, it is not a big deal. But I think it's very important to know that in France, you have to bag those groceries fast. The cashiers in France are whipping those groceries through and ringing you up, and the food is flying down the ramp. And in the US, we have a system often where there are 2 ramps for 1 cashier. So therefore the cashier can ring you up really quick, you can pay, and then you can casually walk down and pack your groceries as another person's getting rung up and their groceries are going down a separate ramp, so there's no confusion about who's paid for what. I have never seen this system in France before, so don't count on it. It really pays to have your cash and your card ready so that you can pay like the speed of lightning and get out of there, because everybody's waiting for you. You can exchange your current license for a French one, maybe. It's very dependent on the country that you come from, and it's very dependent even in the US on the state you come from. So pretty much France allows this for people who come from a state that allows French residents to do the same thing. So I come from Illinois, and Illinois does have an agreement with France, so I was able to change my license. But alert, if you're going to change your license, you have to do it in the first year that you move to France. Otherwise, it's no longer possible. So keep that in the forefront of your mind, because French administration is a total witch when you move here. And if you forget, it costs something like 1,000 plus euros to retake the written test and the driving test in France. So kind of expensive. Though if you do have the option to exchange your license, I would really recommend going to a driving school and paying it's like 90 euros on average to get access to a book of all the written rules of the road in France, and then be able to take online exams to see how well you understood them. The rules of the road in France are really not as similar to what we do in the US as you would think. So I still think it's really important to brush up and know your stuff, but it's great if you can exchange a license and not have to go through the entire process again. Always carry a bit of cash and change on you. Even in a big city like Paris, there are a lot of places that have a minimum on your credit card when you want to use them, which is usually about like 10 euros. So for example, if you want to buy a bottle of water, if you want to grab a baguette, if you want to pay the guy on the metro who just did a cool puppet show, you need to have some change on you. And the thing is when I lived in some smaller towns in France, there aren't ATMs everywhere. In Paris, there's like an ATM on every street, so it's not that hard to go run and grab cash at the last minute if you really need it. But it's not always the case when you're living in a different town. So my advice would really be stick a tenner, fill up your change purse, and try not to use it unless you have to, so you've always got a little bit on you. Also, as I said, change is really important for that grocery store cart. Like, the toilets and the bathroom where you shower are normally separate in Europe. Now, if you've traveled here, you've probably already noticed that in maybe a hotel room or if you're visiting somebody's house. So this might not be a surprise, but what I thought was kind of different in French is that because these two things are separate, you really have to ask for the toilets when you need to use the restroom. At least where I grew up, we were really taught to say like, excuse me, may I please use the bathroom, or may I please use the restroom. We never said like, excuse me, I need to use the toilets. It's just not a phrase that we would use. And if you say in French, excuse me, like, can I use your bathroom, you're not gonna be pointed to the toilets. And this has happened to me twice, where someone showed me to like their shower and their sink, thinking that I just wanted to use the sink. And then I was like, oh no, I need the toilets. So in French, you really do say, where are your toilets and can I please use the toilet? And just don't be surprised that the two are separate. I would really recommend delivering a minimum amount of things possible to your actual address. Most people in France live close enough to a point relais, which is just like a little shop in your neighborhood that is okay with accepting your packages for you, and then you can go and pick them up at the shop. This is not only a godsend when you're not home during the day, it also really guarantees that the day you think your package is going to arrive, it really does arrive. French delivery drivers are notorious for saying that they came to deliver the package and you weren't home when you actually were home and just never got a call, or they never tried to knock on the door, or they give you the 2-hour slot where they're supposed to come from 9 to 11 and it's 12:30 and you're still sitting there like, ugh, why am I still waiting? So instead of all the mess of they can't find my address, how do I get there, why isn't my package arrived, if you can use a point relais, I would really encourage you to do it. Especially if what you're delivering isn't like 7 tons of bricks or super heavy, it will save you a lot of hassle. Changing careers in France is still very hard. So if you're moving here, I'm sure you're either going to start looking for a job, or maybe you already have something lined up, which is great. It's pretty common knowledge that a lot of foreigners struggle to find a job when they get here, and I actually have a video specifically about that you can check out. But what I think is less common knowledge is that in France, most people are not changing their career path after they've started their career. And I'm not even talking about when they're like 50 or, closer to retirement. I'm even saying, at my age, in my early 30s, most people are very locked into what they're doing. French people tend to have started their studies, really niche at about 15, 16, they've gone on to university to do the same thing, then they've done their internships in that field, then they've gone on to start working in that field, and then especially the older generations have stayed in that field for their entire career. And so moving around a lot isn't always that appreciated. Now, there are exceptions to every rule. I'm sure you know someone's aunt's mother's brothers who's changed careers at 59, or somebody that just got a great break and they were able to change. But I'm just saying, in general, if you're moving to France, I would not suggest this as the time to try to make a massive career change. So, all right guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got some more random but useful tips that maybe are more obscure to find on the internet. I love helping anybody who's interested in moving to France. So please, in the comments below, if you have any questions about France, about culture, about moving, I'll try to get back to everybody as much as I can. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, to like the video. Of course, as I said, leave any comments, and I will see everybody next Wednesday. Bisous!